All right, welcome to another exciting edition of Photoshop. This is day 5. We're going to be compositing faces or face swapping. We're going to take the Pikachu and the Pokesaur and we're going to swap their faces and it's going to look ultra realistic. It's going to be a deep fake, Pokemon style. Okay, so we're right here, day 5. Go ahead and follow along. What I want you to do is go ahead and open up your Pokesaur and your Pikachu files in Photoshop, the ones that we removed the backgrounds from. Hopefully you saved those because we're going to be using them today. We're going to pop over here to Pokesaur and we're going to start by first putting his face on Pikachu. So I'm going to hit the M hotkey, or you could come over here to this marquee select tool. We're going to drag it across his face. We're going to Control C to copy. We're going to come over here and Control V to paste. And we're going to keep everything in the layer stack pretty organized and neat so that we know what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and call this Pokesaur face, even though they'll all be one when we're done with them. We're going to Frankenstein the crap out of this. Okay, so I'm going to take my normal selection tool, hotkey V. I'm going to Control T to resize. What I want to do is resize this so that it looks like it fits right on his face. And I'm just guesstimating. I don't have to get it completely perfect, but I basically want to cover his face and make it look good. All right, I'd say something about like that. The less we have to erase of the Pikachu, the easier it will be. I'll go ahead and hit enter. Now what you could do is change the opacity here and kind of see where it's going to go exactly. All right, I'll hit enter and there we have it. It's done. It looks perfect. Okay, so it doesn't look perfect yet. We need to do some work on it. Now again, I'm going to copy this layer. I don't want to delete it ever, but I'll hide it. And then I have it if I need to fix anything or go back. Obviously we have the history brush, but I always like to keep things non-destructive, and we're going to emphasize that quite a bit throughout Photoshop. There's no need, other than hard drive space, which we have plenty of, to waste any files, to throw them away. Always use non-destructive editing practices. I'll continue talking about that in future lectures. Let's keep going with this composite. What do we need to do? Think about it. Sometimes it's fun to just jump in and start doing things, but I want you guys to be good at thinking through, what do I need to change to make this work? Now, I'm probably going to leave the ears on it, so it kind of even makes a better composite. The Pikachu's ears on this Pokesaur. Again, those of you who know Pokemon, this is probably not a Pokesaur. I just call it that because he looks like a dinosaur. So we need to change his color. That's pretty darn easy. We know how to do that with a hue saturation effect. We need to kind of blend some parts, and I think we can do that with just the eraser tool. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll hit E, and you know from a previous tutorial, you can right click and change the size of this. And then you can change to make sure the hardness right here is all the way up, which I'm probably going to want a soft brush for this, to be honest. So I'm going to hit the soft round. It's going to take the hardness down quite a bit. I'll keep the size fairly big and watch me start to blend. Now, make sure this layer is selected right here. A big problem that students have is they'll have the wrong layer selected, or they will have some area on the canvas selected. They'll start making modifications, it won't work, and they'll wonder why. It's all about selections. Make sure you hit Control D to unselect. Make sure you have the layer selected that you want to erase. In this case, I want to erase the Pokesaur's neck right here. So I'll hit that E key again, get the eraser tool, and we'll see we kind of have a soft blend going on there. Now I don't have to be incredibly accurate with this because I'm going to change the tone of it. But right here you can see we need to erase this part of our Pikachu. Now I have to select that Pikachu layer and then erase the parts I don't want. And it looks like there's a part right here maybe. And you can see I'm making mistakes because I have the soft brush, so I'll Control Z that a couple times. Go back and right click, change the hardness of my brush all the way back up. We'll get out of this menu here, and then I'll just erase this portion. Maybe I need a little bit of a smaller eraser tool. We'll just go ahead and erase right there. Okay, now the beauty of this, it's not done yet until we do that hue saturation effect, but the beauty is because we're putting this on top, we really don't have to do that much to Pikachu or this. Now, when we go the other way and we put Pikachu's face on Pokesaur, it will be a little bit more difficult. That's why I did it this way first. So our last step here is we're going to go ahead and change his hue saturation. Some of you already remember how to do that. Image, adjustments, and by the way, make sure you have the right layer selected. Pokesaur right here. Let's go ahead and rename this one Pikachu. So make sure Pokesaur's face is selected, then go Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation. We're going to go ahead and just change our hue here. Then we're going to just try to make sure it matches. And look at that. Look how easy it is to match that. Pretty cool, huh? Just like that, you guys have made a deepfake, the Pikasaurus, or whatever you want to call him. I'm open to name suggestions. Now you could change the eyes too. Those of you who want to get really detailed with this could go and select the mouth. We could get our magic wand tool, select the mouth, and do that same thing. We could go image, adjustments, hue, saturation, and we could change the tone of this to whatever you want. I don't know, maybe he has a green tongue. I'm not sure. Feels like to me he would have more of a red tongue, so I'll keep it there. And then his eyes, you could change them. I'm gonna just show you guys. Go ahead, image, adjustments, hue, saturation, and you could change this eye color as well. Again, I don't even remember what they were on the Pikachu, but we should probably look at that. Let's go ahead and look at the original Pikachu, and his eyes are black. So yeah, it'd be easy to make them black in this, wouldn't it? Let's go ahead and hide that bottom layer again. We could take these and make them completely black fairly easily. We would just go image, adjustments, and like we've done before, we'd go levels, and we would crank this all the way down like that, and then he'd have black eyes. Okay, now I don't know what color you want to make his eyes. You could make them something crazy. You can recolor them. If you know how to select stuff, you can do whatever you want. You could select all these little things right here, and you could just fill them. Let's show you that, right? This is a paint bucket tool. Awesome. We'll grab that paint bucket tool. I don't think we've used it yet. We'll grab some cool color. Double click on this color swatch right here. You'll get this pop up, and let's select some cool color like sky blue. Why not? Boom. Then we can just fill these eyes in. All right. The point is you can make it yours. What I'm looking for is a realistic looking composite so it doesn't look derpy. You don't see little things where you didn't do a good job erasing, you know. Now this one was very easy. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back because now we're going to go the other way. We're going to take Pikachu's face over to Pokesaur. So let's go ahead and do that. First, save your work. Save it to the cloud. Okay, so what we need to do is hide these layers right here and grab Pikachu's face. Now we're going to have a lot more stuff to erase because we have the tail and the hand and whatnot. Again, M for this marquee select tool. I'm going to grab this whole kind of face area right here. Control C. We'll go over to Pokesaur and we'll go ahead and get rid of the selection with Control D. We'll hit Control V and we'll put the, again, make sure that you have this layer right here selected. Otherwise we would copy Pokesaur's face in the background. We want to make sure that our Pikachu is selected. Control C, go over here, Control V. There's Pikachu. We'll hit V, we'll get that move tool. Again, we'll want to scale him down with Control T. We'll scale him down a little bit so he fits better. And what you can do again is change the opacity, kind of look at the eye sizes. It doesn't matter, they're monstrous creatures, so you can kind of make them your own. You can make the head grotesquely much bigger or smaller. It doesn't really matter. Try your best to match them though. I'm gonna go ahead and try that. I'll take my opacity back up, take a look. I think that will work. I'll hit enter. Again, I'm gonna call this Pikachu. And the reason I'm naming these is because, believe it or not, sometimes in Photoshop you have hundreds of layers. It sounds unrealistic, but it's very true. And if you get into After Effects and video production, thousands of layers aren't uncommon. I've done it in my professional career. So, always keep organized. You don't need to right now, I get that, but do it anyway to practice for when you get better and you do bigger and bigger projects, okay? And again, I'm going to copy this so that I'm non-destructively editing these files. I'll go ahead and hide this one. Of course, I'm going to call it Pokesaur. I know someone's going to tell me the real name of this, but I like the name Pokesaur, okay? Probably could Google it. Pokesaur. All right. So we have that bottom layer hidden. We want to erase this bottom layer. We can easily do that with the eraser tool. All we have to do is hit E key, make sure this Pokesaur is selected. I'll go ahead and make a huge brush. We'll just erase whatever background we need there. All right, and that should do us. We don't even have a head now back there. Ooh, look at that. Okay, now we have to do the fixing on the Pikachu. That could be a little bit more difficult. Another thing we're going to want to do is probably have the image extend. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. Let's go over here to our select tool. We've got this artboard tool here. We can drag out artboards and we can make them bigger, or there's a couple other things we could do. Let's not get into artboards. It's a little bit more complicated. Let's go to an image, canvas size, and let's take the height up a little bit. Let's just go 1,200 pixels and see if that doesn't do it for us. Ah, we're really close there. Let's try that again. Image, canvas size, and we'll go ahead and go 1,300 pixels. Okay, now we've got our whole Pikachu kind of going on there. All right, his ear is very important to his hearing. Now, I'm going to erase this tail because I like this tail better. It ties it in, I think. Now, again, that goes back to thinking about compositing. You really could use Pikachu's tail on him. I don't think it would work as well to tie the two together. Okay, so those of you who know the Pokemon universe very well would probably agree with me. I don't know. You can always argue with me in class. I'm open to that. So now what we've got to do is select our Pikachu head and delete the extraneous portions and do some rebuilding. Now this is where a better selection tool comes in, like the pen tool. So what I'm going to do is hit the pen tool again, and as previously, we use the pen tool to make much more complex selections around round shapes. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to use the pen tool to make much better selections here. Okay? Very quickly and easily. And I'm going to use this to delete all the portions that I do not want on Pikachu. And look how quickly this is going. Very quickly and easily, I'm able to select these extraneous portions, go over here to Paths, right-click, make selection, hit OK, hit delete, and there I've got it fairly well removed. I can do the same thing over here. Don't really need the pen tool, but maybe over here would be better. So I'll go ahead and delete that work path, Control D to unselect. I'll come over here and use that pen tool to really quickly grab this area. Again, repeating that, right click, make selection, hit OK, hit delete. There we go, Control D. Now it looks like I need to delete a little bit more over here on our Pokesaur with the eraser tool, hit E. Okay, I know I'm moving quickly, but you can always pause, rewind, or slow it down. Let's go back to Pikachu. I've got to delete this area right here, and I could just use this tool probably to somewhat round it out. The pen tool would work better though. And then we're going to have to rebuild this area to kind of make it look good. So this is where it's going to get a bit more complex. So I'll slow it down just a bit. All right, so we've got our overall shape okay. What we could do is select our head and move it down just a little bit like that. And then what we're going to do is kind of rebuild this area. And I'm going to use the clone stamp tool. So hotkey is S. I use this one a ton when doing advanced compositing. It's a great tool. So here's how it works. You go ahead and alt-click somewhere on the canvas that you want to copy. And you go over here and it will mirror everything that you are drawing. Pretty cool, huh? So you could easily paint a third eye, like so. Pretty awesome. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because it's hilarious and I didn't plan on doing that. That's the clone stamp tool. Now, let's go ahead and try to use it to fix this area right here. We have some shading going on here. And it changes, so it makes it a little bit more complicated. We could take that shading out and re-add it. There's a lot of things we could do, and if we had a ton of time, I'd show you digital painting, but we are going to get into that before this 10-day unit is over. We're going to do some more advanced compositing and shading. So we won't do that just yet, but let's go ahead and see if we can't fix this with the clone stamp tool real quick. What I'm doing is alt-clicking and then dragging over here, and I, again, have stuff I can use on the tools. I'm in pin light mode. I need to be in normal mode. And that's why this looked so weird color-wise, is because I had a transfer mode on here or blending mode that was different. So make sure this is on normal. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about it because this was something I wasn't planning on doing. It just was funny and fun. So let's go back and try that again. Make sure your tool is reset to normal. You select here and then you can kind of paint in color, right? Now it's not helping me blend really well, but I do have, if you right click, a soft brush going on, which helps. I can change the size a little bit and we can kind of fix that. So all I do is alt click and then I just kind of paint. Now if this is too big, it gives you kind of like a preview of what it's going to be if you click. So I have this a little bit too big of a size. I'll change that back down. What I want to do is just kind of smooth blend this area. Okay. I'm not too worried about that shading of red right there. We could add that later or not. I don't think your eye is going to notice it. Your eye is going to notice blatant things like this though. So we need to fix this area and we need to fix this outline. And there's a really cool tool we can use to do that. And we've used it before. It's called the pen tool. Yep, we're going to use the pen tool again. All right, so I'm going to hit P. I've got the pen tool and we've used it for selections before, but we're actually going to use it to make a shape. A stroke, that is, actually. So we don't want to fill. We'll click no on the fill. We'll come over here to stroke, and we'll want this to be very small. Just like 2 pixels, maybe. So we'll go ahead and hit 2 pixels. Now what did I just do? I am going to now be able to draw shapes with the pen tool that are stroked. So that's what this is right here, is kind of a pen stroke, isn't it? So why not use the pen tool to make a perfect pen stroke right here? Right, now we're getting somewhere with the pen tool. I told you the pen tool is more useful than you could possibly imagine. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that shape I just created. We're gonna create a new one. We're gonna make sure it's the right color. But before we do that, I wanna delete this so we can just perfectly round this out to where we want it to be. Just imagine if all this wasn't here and we were rounding his face to match this outline right here. Okay, so I am gonna get the eraser tool, make it much smaller here, and just kind of delete all this area right here. Okay, something like that. In fact, we'll leave that stroke right there. Now, I'm gonna match this stroke with this. So I need plenty of room here. I'm gonna go back to the pen tool, hit P. I'm gonna make sure that my stroke is 2 pixels, but I need to select this color right here. It's not really black, as you can see. It's close, but not quite. So what we're gonna do is, well, we'll select a black and we'll just kind of blend it in and see if it works. So let's go ahead and use the eyedropper tool, hotkey I. It's got a little eyedropper and it lets you select a color. I'll select this kind of red right here, and you can see as I drag around it lets me, it's more like a dark red, dark brown. Then if I hit the pen tool, that will be the stroke color we use. So I can click right here and I can create kind of a round curve all the way over here. That way better matches what I could do with my mouse. Okay, and we could take that stroke down to 1 pixel here if we want, or even a micropixel, right? So we're just trying to blend that a lot better. I'll hit enter and we'll go ahead and fill this in, this color. So again, eyedropper tool, we'll hit I. So what we want to do is select this color here. We'll use the eyedropper tool, click I, select this yellow, and then we'll just paint it in with a brush. We'll go ahead and change the brush size quite a bit here, and we can go ahead and paint that in. As you can see, my brush opacity is way lowered and my flow is way lowered. Right, there we go. Okay, much better. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and I'm painting over that line a little bit because I want it to blend better. And if we wanted this color to match, we could paint that in too. All right, so let's just go ahead and try that real quick. We'll hit the eyedropper tool. Again, we're using the eyedropper tool a lot, we're using the pen tool a lot, we're using the brush tool a lot. So you want to memorize the hotkeys. I select this color, I go back to the brush tool, I change my opacity and my flow down quite a bit. That way I have some control of how fast this happens, and watch me kind of blend that shade back in. Cool, huh? Now, I probably didn't have to take my flow all the way down, but this lets me slowly blend it in. If you go too fast, then it all happens at once. You have to undo and try again. Slower is better when it comes to Photoshop, okay? So you're painting that color back in to match the blending that they had. And this is somewhat pixelated anyway, but all we're doing is adding that kind of red tinge to everything here. Now, I know we're spending a lot of time on something that most people wouldn't, but when you zoom out, it's gonna actually look really cool once we color correct this. So we've got all the shape rebuilt. It was kind of hard. Those of you who think I talk too fast, slow the video down. It's gonna be okay. You don't have to get it perfect. It's the concepts, it's the tools that we really want you to learn. It's the thinking about design and then trying to figure out which tool it will take to do that. Now that could take years to master, so don't worry. If it's going too quick for you, if it feels really difficult, it's totally cool. You got this, all right? And I'm always around to help. I am your Photoshop sensei. Let's go ahead and color correct this head and be done. Keep in mind, if you want to change any other parts of the color, you can select those and do that. But with Pikachu's head selected, I'm gonna go ahead and go Image, Adjustments. We'll go Hue Saturation again. And we're going to go ahead and drag it until it goes more red. It kind of blends in with our Pokesaurus. Again, you're just trying to get it as close as you possibly can. Hit OK. And then you'll see down here we've got this awkward neck area. So we're going to have to fix that. We can fix that with the eraser tool, but we need to make sure the eraser tool is on very soft. So we right click, select the soft brush, take up the size a little bit, and let's go ahead and draw that out a little bit. Okay, again, I have my flow and opacity way, way down, which slowed me down quite a bit. Let's try that again. Okay, I'm on the brush tool, not the eraser tool. Okay, Sensei, you're really struggling there. Let's go ahead, try that again. Let's go ahead and make sure the eraser tool selected, E hotkey. Go ahead and make sure that it's on a soft brush like this one. Make sure it's not too big, and then we'll go ahead with Pikachu's head selected. So what I want to do is take my brush size down a little bit and make sure that my hardness is down quite a bit, and I want to just kind of feather that right there. All right, now we have a problem, but we can go ahead and fix that with the brush tool, hit B. We'll make sure that this color is selected right here. Change the size of the brush. Again, using hotkeys to move quickly, and I can kind of paint that out right there. And I could use the pen tool again to fix this. So this is a lot of steps. Don't worry if it seems like quite a bit. Again, eyedropper tool to select this color. Pen tool, make sure I'm on 2 pixels, and I can go ahead and drag right here and create that outline. I'll probably take that all the way down to like 1 pixel, honestly, like that. And hit enter. Go ahead and select my selection tool. Then I can just erase this area right here, these pixels with eraser. I want to select the Pikachu head, take my eraser down to like 1 pixel and just delete these right here. Okay, your mind will find the littlest places where things don't look right. So you do have to be quite masterful at Photoshop to achieve a good composite. Now this isn't perfect. I've got some shading issues here. I know I moved extraordinarily fast. What I'm really looking for with you guys at your level is for you to achieve this composite. This is easy and you can accomplish this one. This one right here, not everyone in class is going to be able to pull this off, and I'm okay with that. I want to re-emphasize that. If you can't pull off this composite, it seemed too complex, don't worry. You're probably not going to be a designer anyway, and it's not that fun for you. If you're having fun though, and you want to take on this challenge, go ahead and go for it. I'm super excited to see what you guys create. Again, those of you who are already Photoshop ninjas, I want to see some crazy stuff from you guys. So, 2 last things I'll do. I'm going to save this out, but I'm going to again change the image size here. So I'm going to show you 2 more things. I know this is a long one, but 2 more things. Bear with me, okay? What I'm going to do is select the whole image, and I'm going to just select the areas I want to keep. So notice I drew a lasso selection, the marquee lasso selection tool, hotkey M, around my whole image. I'm going to go image and crop. That way I can now have a more balanced image. It's going to be smaller image size, and I'm saving exactly what I want to save. And then the other thing I want to show you how to do is how to take all these and put them on one layer. So if I select all these, shift select, I can right click and I can merge the layers together. However, I talked about non-destructive editing. What if you want to go back and change some things on here like colors and you want different selections? You can go ahead and put all these in a group, which I encourage you to do. Select everything in here with a shift select. Control G to group it and call it Pikasaurus. Then we can duplicate this group right here, like so. Hide this one at the bottom, and then we can select all these and merge them. So I can select all these. I guess I don't need that Pokesaur at the bottom. We've got them in the other file. So we'll probably just want to delete that. So we'll select all of these right here, right click, and merge. And it's going to put them all on one layer. So now that's all the layer, if that makes any sense. Okay, but I still have all these files back here in case I want to change anything for later. This is how I work in Photoshop. This is how professionals work in Photoshop. They keep this stuff organized. They don't throw away layers. They don't constantly merge things without creating a backup. And this will become very important in one of our upcoming projects. So what we've done today is we've learned to do some more advanced compositing, some deep faking, if you will. We've taken the face of Pokesaur and put it on Pikachu. We've taken the Pikachu face and we put it on Pokesaurus, and we've made it somewhat realistic. We've learned a lot of tools, and we've reused a bunch of tools that we've already used before, including the eraser tool, the pen tool, and some other stuff that you've used quite a bit. So that is compositing. I hope you're enjoying it. If not, feel free to let me know in the comments. All right, I'll see you in the next one.